You won't look at me. I'm going to look there and then I'll look at you. Okay. We're going to get through this, maybe. Oh, God. Who's not going to be He Bros do a podcast? Okay. La, 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 la.
It's not looking.
Yeah, maybe don't look at me.
Look at you.
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of South Bay Buzz Podcast. I'm your host, Megan Lebre. And honestly, it's a miracle I just got through that because we've been laughing for the past 5 minutes trying to get this started. I am truly beyond excited to be sitting down with my friend, my fellow mom entrepreneur, the incredible, incomparable, realist human, Jessica Hickerson. Hello. Yes.
The audience is
yes.
clapping for me.
The audience is clapping for you. I'm going to tell the folks listening how I know you.
Okay, let's do it.
It all started when we were tiny babies.
No.
That's actually not true. But really cool in the small world of it all is that you went to high school with my cousin, but I didn't know that for years later, but we did make that connection. I first discovered Esplanade brand in 2016.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had some of your very early merch.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a white long sleeve.
Oh, the bubble.
And and had South Bay bubble. So cute. And then you went away.
Yeah. Because I had babies.
Because you had babies.
And they take up so much time.
They do. I remember feeling so sad, but also the Beach Cities lineup. Did you have that early on?
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever made.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So I also had that. So I had an OG Beach Cities lineup.
Yeah, probably in black.
Right? Yes. I think.
I don't really remember.
I don't remember. This is
10 years
so
ago.
long ago.
Yeah.
So then you went away, had babies, and then in 2020 in the dark
ages
times,
when we couldn't go to the beach.
we couldn't go to the beach. I cannot even begin to tell you. I remember being in my room, scrolling the Instagram,
Yeah.
and I saw Esplanade brand pop up that you were going to make an announcement about your return. And I remember like screaming to my husband. I was like, do you remember Esplanade brand? Like, welcome back.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I might make you cry.
Well, it's too early.
It's too early to wrap this. Is you eventually then, I think I reached out to you. I was like, oh my God, I have had your apparel since 2016. People always comment on the Beach Cities lineup shirt. And I was so excited you came back. You eventually asked for brand ambassadors. Oh, I was like, I'm getting that position.
You're like, remember me? I went to Disneyland and I wore your apparel.
Yes. And ever since then, we have been on a really fabulous, wonderful, small biz loving ride together.
Yes.
So let's get into it. I want everyone to know a little bit about you from your perspective. You are South Bay born and bred. There's truly, I think, nothing you love more than this beautiful little bubble of ours. How was growing up in the South Bay? How did it shape not only your life as an entrepreneur? You started in photography and then eventually created Esplanade brand and then the Sun and Sea Collective pop-up market. Tell us about how this sweet community of ours.
Yeah, I am just a little obsessed with the South Bay. Can't tell. I was either like at school or at the beach. That was my whole life growing up. I was on 2nd Street every Saturday going to Mickey's, and it was just, I thought it was just the best place ever from the moment I was born. I even have my kids now going to the same elementary school that I went to because everywhere is so warm and lovely, and it just feels like a bubble, which can be used in a negative way sometimes, but I think it's a positive thing because it's such a safe, happy space. And I love that this community is just similar to what it was when I was growing up years and years ago. So I think my family has always been big on small business. Amazon wasn't a thing back then, obviously, but we would always support our friends who had businesses. We'd go to their restaurants, we'd go to their retail shops. And that is something that stuck with me because I knew from probably a teenager that I was just never going to work for somebody. I'm too stubborn. So I knew So right out of college, I started my photography business. I was in Arizona for college, and then as soon as I was done, popped back over here and was living in Torrance, and I was a wedding photographer at 19 and just pursued that and made everything up as I went. And then, like you said, I started Esplanade in 2016 because I just had this idea come to me to create a brand that celebrates this community. So it just has been going from there.
Yes, it's so true, and it's interesting because you started in photography, and then I do think because you have to rely on photography and social media and video to
Mhm.
then eventually with Esplanade brand and Sun and Sea, which we'll get into, all those skills and your creativity and innovation really lends itself to that.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if anyone is to look up the word serial entrepreneur in the
Oh,
dictionary, it would probably have a nice
really?
cute little face of you.
I think
But
so.
yeah,
At least on what's that one? Urban Dictionary.
Urban
I could probably
Dictionary.
edit that.
Yeah. But what I would say to that is you are somebody and I really have seen I didn't know you when you started your photography business,
Mhm.
but one thing I do admire about you is that, like, when you get an idea, even if you do maybe feel, like, internally scared about it or nervous, you flesh out the idea for it, but you do take the steps and then you just make it happen, which is really powerful because I do think a lot of people they're very afraid to take that step,
Yeah.
and I wonder just how maybe it's just your personality,
I just
but
firmly believe in doing things scared. I don't
yeah.
think anything's ever gonna be the perfect timing. I think even waiting to get married or waiting to have kids or starting a business, it's never going to all line up perfectly and be like, "Oh, today is the day that my life is completely in order and I could do ABCD." So I think if you lean in and you try hard enough, you might fail, but at least you failed doing something you love. And I have failed many times and I keep trying. And I feel like as long as I feel fulfilled by whatever I'm trying to do, then that is success. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I did mention this already, but I did really and I still love it, the Beach Cities lineup shirt from
Yes, the
your
OG.
Yes, OG from the Esplanade brand, and honestly, to this day, I was just at a beach workout,
Mhm.
and everybody was like,
Oh,
and I'm like, "It's my friend Jessica's brand, Esplanade brand," and they're like, "Oh, yes, I've seen it." Okay.
oh my gosh.
It is, and, as I've stated, I'm proud OG brand rep
You're right.
for life. So tell me, when you were creating that awesome shirt, like, what was your inspiration, and how do you continue? Because you have continued to create these everything from very bright and bold designs to sometimes, like, more muted
Mhm.
designs that have maybe more, like, a laid back vibe. How
Yeah.
do you continue to find inspiration?
I think the root of everything is the slow beach life of the South Bay. That's what it all
Yeah.
comes back to. When I made the Beach Cities lineup, I first of all just wanted South Bay apparel. It just didn't exist yet. And it was I felt like the South Bay was really cool, but I think people think it was like old.
Oh,
I think that was the
interesting.
impression. So I was like, "Man, let's make the South Bay cool, like, it should be celebrated, and it's such a wonderful place." I could go on. But I saw this it was a poster, and it had the Beatles on it, and it
Yeah.
was listed in a similar way, and it was like, "Oh, I can make that into a T-shirt with the beach city." So they're all in order. It's all of the beaches in the South Bay. I get grief all the time for not having PV on there and Lomita. I'm like, they're not the beaches."
Yes, that's fair.
Which I love both of those. They don't fit on the Beach Days lineup.
Yes.
So anyways, that's what inspired that, and it just resonated with people. I think that is the only design that I have kept from 2016, and it just has rolled over
Mhm.
into sweatshirts and different color T-shirts, but it stayed the same design. And then I've created other things like my South Bay local hat, which just again
Yes.
is celebrating like how cool it is to be a local here. Those have become really popular thanks to the Aloha Bungalow, especially.
Mm.
Everyone goes there and picks one up.
Shout out Aloha
Shout
Bungalow.
out,
We
Emily.
love you.
No. I draw all of my designs, and a lot of them start pen and paper, and it comes out of me, and I'm like, "Oh, I want a lifeguard tower on a sweatshirt. I haven't seen that before, so I'm gonna make it." And so I looked at a picture of a lifeguard tower in Redondo and drew it and threw it on a sweatshirt that I've sold thousands of now.
Yeah.
It's wild. And then I just came out with a new collection. That was the Slow Down collection, and that one was all inspired by slowing down and embracing, like, the moment that you're in and the time and the place specifically being the South Bay.
Amazing. I also know for me, my go-to staple in my wardrobe is the Be Happy
Oh,
sweatshirt,
I
which
love
was a
that
great
one.
pandemic one because you did
Yeah.
that. It was like an ombre.
Yes.
You did some stitching,
Yes,
which
but what's so cool about
yeah.
that one specifically is I got to hire a tie-dye artist and then an embroiderer, and I got to create this network of people who
Right.
all benefited from this one sweatshirt being sold, which was like I've done a few times on a bunch of designs because I have everything made locally. So getting to pick it up from the tie-dye person, take it to the embroidery person, then take it to the Yellow Bungalow to sell, like, it just was very cool.
Yeah.
I missed that one. We should bring
Yeah.
it back.
We should. Yeah, that one is that I really like the story behind that one, and it anytime I wear it, it just makes me feel happy.
Oh, it's
So,
working.
good job. I know you and I talk about this a lot. We are both moms to 3 adorable, wild
I thought you were gonna say 3
angels.
girls. I was, like, counting, and it was
Oh,
had a moment. Little mom brain fart
no,
moment.
yes. We've done many walks on the Esplanade to talk and
Mhm.
debrief a lot. And I know how important it is with our kids for them to see that there's a lot of joy and love in the work that we do, but it
Yeah.
also can be challenging. And there is this like work life integration that we're always balancing. So, what lessons about entrepreneurship are you most hoping to pass down to your daughters?
I love this question because I feel so strongly that I don't want my girls to be put in a box ever. I don't want someone to be like, "Oh, you're so smart. You definitely need to be a doctor someday." And then them to get that stuck in their head that you're so smart, therefore you have to be a doctor. You don't have to know what you be when you grow up ever. You can change it and you can keep being different things forever. And that's what I plan to do. I think that my success comes from my happiness with what I get to create, and I hope that someday they feel the same way, whether they are a doctor or say she want to be a vegetable. I'm like, "No, girl, you be a vegetable." I'm not gonna be like, No, that's not gonna work for you. You be what you want to be." And I think it's so cool for them to see me working my butt off all the time and them getting to be involved in it. And then right now, Sadie's current thing is that she wants to be a clothing designer. And she goes, "But not like you, mom. I wanna sew the clothes." And I'm like, "Okay, girl, like, you get it."
Oh,
She just has these passions that I think as long as I can cheer them on and I don't as much as we all need money, whatever, I think it's so important for them to just focus on joy, and I think money and everything else follows. It's hard
I
out there.
know. No, but that's really beautiful, and they're clearly seeing it. They see the hustle, but they
Yeah.
do see the joy, and I think it's a really beautiful thing that I do think the conversation probably has shifted so much in so many ways, but there are still societal expectations that happen,
Like, go
whether
to
it's
college, get your degree,
yeah.
and I'm like, "You don't wanna go to college? It's fine."
Yeah, it's just about having those open conversations with them, and it sounds like you're doing that even starting
Yeah, yeah,
now while they're young, which is great.
yeah.
Let's talk about something that I love everything you do, and
But your favorite.
that's one of my favorites is the Sun and Sea Collective pop-up
Yeah.
markets because truly I do feel like this is where like, I loved small businesses, and then you had this idea for your Sun and Sea Collective pop-up markets,
Mhm.
and I remember you calling me and saying, "I just went to another
Yeah.
market in a different county, and it was incredible, and how in the world do we not have something like this here?
Yeah.
Am I crazy to wanna try this in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I was gonna say in 2 weeks, if there's not enough time, like
Let me call some of our local faves. Let's just do this in my parents' backyard. Can you come and help?" And this was straight up COVID times, like
yeah, masks and
masks,
everything.
no vaccines, nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember being there and we had to be mindful of how many people, all the things. But what I do remember is saying, "This sounds incredible.
Mhm.
Yes, I can help. And when and where do you need me?" And it pretty much has been like that with you and me
Yeah.
since, whether it was checking people in, signing
Block that from my
waivers.
brain.
I know, but it has been I'm not going to cry. One of the best experiences of my life
Yeah.
being part of your event
Oh,
staff and having those conversations, getting to know vendors, new
yeah.
vendors, returning vendors. at the Sun and Seas the last 4 years, and I do think it was such a big catalyst for me to go from my small biz cheerleader account to you really
Yes.
encouraging me to then we made this transition to South Bay Buzz. Incredible. So, Sun and Sea Collective markets now, we're coming up on did we just celebrate
So it was
5?
4 years in December was the
Oh, 4
first,
years,
yeah.
that's right. Okay, awesome. So they have grown. They grew fast. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
truly,
we
they
had
grew
that first
fast.
one in the backyard with, I
Yeah,
think, 12 vendors, but we had 350 people come in.
they're a
It was a
lot.
lot of people, and then I connected with Offset, and we did one 2 weeks later, so
Mhm.
just another psycho endeavor, but it was so great, and then I got connected with The Point, and so in 2021, I think the first one there was maybe March, and I started
Yeah,
doing events with them every other month from that point on. Yeah, it's wild to think about because it doesn't feel like that long. It feels like because it's just been growing and just feels such a huge part of my life that I'm like, I just started that. No,
yeah.
what do you mean? But yeah, we have, gosh, like I can't even, 1,000 vendors on our list of people
Yeah.
who have at least applied or participated in the past 4 years. And we have thousands of Instagram followers, which is so cool because when we get to promote people online before they come to a market, they get to get that interaction. Yeah, so it's been really fulfilling to get to work with small businesses like that and to at first, it was an opportunity for my friends in the small business world, and now I meet people every single time I do a market that I'm like, "Where have you been hiding? Like, how have you had this business for 10 years and I've never heard of you?"
Yeah.
It's wild.
I think and to speak to the way that you truly do champion small businesses, the way that you communicate with the vendors prior, and then how you showcase you're asking them, "Okay, hey, we're gonna all support each other
Mhm.
leading up to it," and how you showcase them on your social media, to also when they're setting up and making sure that things are going smoothly and checking in, and as a day of coordinator, that's something that I would do as well, but
Yeah.
I do think it makes such a actually, I don't think I know it makes such a difference to them, the vendors and the business owners,
Mm.
that you're there, you're a warm welcome. I know that how much they appreciate it. What's been one or a few aspects of the growth that's been the most rewarding to you?
Oh gosh. I think it's been watching the businesses, like, flourish that they've gone through struggles of COVID and then small business, like excitement kind of declining after that and then slowly coming back up, and just being able to partner with them on that roller coaster of owning a small business because it's easy 1% of the time, 99% of the time, it's really hard. And so they have this opportunity to sell in person, which is rare because storefronts, especially here, are almost impossible to get face wise and financially. So be able to get in front of their audience and invite their people and then meet new customers and then see that growth happen online, in person, on their website. It all is simpatico. Like it's very cool to see all of that happen for these people who now I now consider friends. And I get to beg them to come back to me because they're so busy. And I'm like, don't forget Sun and Sea. Come back. But it's cool. The growth is very
Great. Yeah, and I feel, I guess, with in that same vein of championing, that's a big word.
put a lot of syllables.
Championing other small businesses. I mean, obviously, you are a small business owner yourself. For you specifically, why is supporting local business ecosystem so important, and how has community collaboration contributed to your own success?
Yeah, I think people forget sometimes that when you go to a store or order on Amazon or whatever it might be, that that money doesn't come back to your community. Like as much as you want to think, oh, they're donating back or whatever it is, you'll never see it again. It's just
Mm.
gone. So when you support them on, say, at one of our pop-up markets, you're paying for that person to enroll their daughter in a ballet class or for them to be able to pay their mortgage or I don't know. There's so many elements of supporting a small business, whether it's at a market or a small brick and mortar or whatever it might be, that it directly impacts your neighbor, your friends, your family. And I forgot part 2 of that question, so that's about
Oh,
it.
that's actually that's a really realistic, or like a really nice way to put it, because it's true. You had I just how has community collaboration contributed to your success?
Oh, yeah, I think people know Esplanade brand now specifically as a South Bay brand, and just them literally wearing something that belongs to me and then telling a friend like you did today. They go to my website, they go to my Instagram page, and then they're like, "Oh, this is cool," and they buy from me, and I think people could be like, "Oh, yeah, I got that at Macy's," or do people go to Macy's? I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. But
Yeah, yeah.
Target. I got that
Yes,
at
Target,
Target,
yeah.
and it's so cool, whatever. But if you're like, "Oh, I got this from this girl that I met at a pop-up market, and she makes really cool pillowcases, and she makes them by hand, and she dyes them and whatever," then you're like, "Oh my gosh, I want one of those." Like, how unique and special, and, like, let's just support this random girl that you just met, and now we're gonna be best friends forever.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
no, it is, it is. It's so much more meaningful. There all of a sudden, it's not just somebody random, but it's especially this isn't possibly your neighbor. Maybe it's your neighbor that you didn't even know who is doing this incredible
Yes.
thing. I feel like you've answered this, but I'm still gonna ask it
Okay,
just in
I'm ready.
case something else comes to mind for you. As we know, your work consistently celebrates beach living and the
Yeah.
South Bay lifestyle. What makes the South Bay so special as both a place to raise a family and build business?
Oh, I just love like, geographically, we're away from the freeways. I always think about this. So, people don't come here on accident. And it just even when there's, like, people taking a vacation here in the summer, you're like, "How did you get here? Like, how did you find Redondo?"
Did you
So
miss an
I
exit?
know.
You trying to go to
Welcome.
Disneyland?
I know you missed it. But I just think it is so mellow, and I love growing up here, I see the same people that I grew up with. I'll be, like, on a walk on the Esplanade, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, my friend's dad from when I was 5," or, "Hey, my daughter's friend's mom," and I see people every single day that I know, and I think that technically living in LA, that is very rare.
Mhm.
So, I it just feels, like, safe, and it feels exciting, like you're a part of something bigger than just you. So, yeah.
I think it's so interesting because I'm a fifth generation Angelino.
Mhm.
Obviously, my roots are so deep here, and we lived on the West Side till I was 7, and then my dad's job dragged us.
Yep.
We went to Tex
Kicking and
I know,
screaming.
we moved to Texas, but we came back here all the time.
Mhm.
So out of each year, I was probably back in Los Angeles about 2 months out of the year. But really, by the time I was in middle school, we would spend a lot of time in Torrance and in the South area seeing my cousins.
Yeah,
And I will tell you, like, truly by middle school, I could feel it even then. I was like,
that's wild.
I wanna live here. When I grow up, I don't wanna live anywhere else. And that just
Mhm.
became my mission. And I think back at it now and I'm like, "Man, I manifested this." I was driving around my little silver CRV in Dallas, Texas with the RB sticker on the back,
Oh
like the
my
one
gosh.
from the pier,
They're like, "What
like
is
little
that?
Redondo
What is
Beach.
RB?"
I know. You mentioned earlier that it is very important to you that your daughters know that they can do anything and be anything as long as they set their mind to it and they stay true to themselves. Can you share, like, an experience or anything about your journey as an entrepreneur that you have found to be challenging and how you overcame it or are overcoming it?
Okay, so I it's hard for me to come up with a specific instance. I There's been things that happen with Esplanade brand where a printer messed up a shirt, right? And an entire run of shirts was ruined and I was out hundreds of dollars or things like that just happen. That's part of life. But I think that being an entrepreneur is actively questioning yourself every single day. And it's being like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I feel psycho. And then 2 hours later, make a sale and you're like, ah, it's the best day ever. It's not normal. But I do think that is part of why it makes it so great is because you experience the lows and every single day there's like different challenges and obstacles. And then you're making the choice to stay in it. You could always quit and go do something else. There's always other options. And so anyone who maintains their small business and keeps fighting for it is like they're making that choice every single day. I often am like, "I'm done." Like, "I'm gonna go get a real job." And it's never happened because I just cannot see myself, like, not being able to be creative and not be able to make an impact in a way that I get to choose. I think if I was just, like, following the herd and just did what everyone else was doing, then it would crush my soul a little bit. So I feel like it's important for me personally and my personality to lean in as much as I can and embrace those challenges, and hopefully they make it better. Hopefully.
No, it's so true. When you said at the very beginning of when you said that, I literally thought of the movie Tangled when Rapunzel's like, "I felt the best." Oh my gosh, that's She's like, "This is the worst day ever." That's what I imagined.
Yeah, it's true. It makes you feel so psycho, but it's like that's just part of it, I think, is from everyone I've talked to.
I would say even for South Bay Buzz, it's because this really started completely out of like very casual, very much just wanting to support my friends and
Yeah.
people like you. And then it became like a full blown passion
Mhm.
project and then has transitioned into a business that is still a massive passion.
Yeah.
I feel like experienced the high highs and the lows a little differently, but that's also because my life has changed. I had one kid when I started. Now I have three twins and life changes.
Yeah.
And I think we just don't get through this alone. And it's
Mhm.
why, back to your point too, about also like collaboration community and the ecosystem of working with others, like you're never alone in this.
There's so many people out there that are excited and willing to support you and answer
Mhm.
questions, and I think I get questions all the time of people being like, "How did you start Esplanade?" or "Where do you get your t-shirts printed?" or whatever, and I always answer because I remember being that person and, like, begging for answers and finding it so hard to find somebody to just help me.
Yeah.
So I think if we all just understand that there's always enough for everybody, there's
Yeah.
always room at the table, I think that everyone can then benefit together.
What dreams do you have for current businesses, future businesses that you haven't realized yet?
That I haven't realized,
Yeah, I don't know.
like,
Yeah,
what's
so for
next.
example, I remember when your beach umbrella was like a big lofty
Mhm.
dream, you made that happen.
My, like, life goal, this huge big dream is to own a coffee shop one day. And so it's gonna be
Put me in, coach. What do you need me to do?
I am
Check people in?
addicted to coffee. I go to local coffee shops all the time. This has been like a lifelong obsession. Like I watched Gilmore Girls. I wanted
Mhm.
to be Lorelai and she drank coffee and I'm like, I'm gonna drink coffee. So I was like 11 years old drinking coffee, like a weirdo.
11.
11, ordering my mocha at Coffee Bean.
Oh my god.
But anyways, I have always loved the environment of a coffee shop and that culture. And I would love, I always put that universe,
Manifest it.
listen,
Manifest it.
I want to have a coffee shop that's like beach rentals and like beachy swag apparel and just have it be like a really cool spot, like somewhere that you would see like on the beach in Maui. I feel like it would just be like a really cool community spot where you have bomb coffee. That's very important. And then having a place where you could hang out and then shop and support. Like I want a hub of those local businesses that I work with at pop-up markets to be able to be inserted into this retail space and have that beachy vibe and, like, celebrating like, I love the Beach Boys in the '70s, and I just wanna put that into a coffee shop.
If my history has any weight in your businesses, I'll probably be
You're
one
my
of your early
barista.
supporters. So as we wrap up here, how do you hope your work will continue to impact the South Bay community in the years to come?
I think with Sun and Sea, that's an easy answer because it just continues to give opportunities to small businesses. Every market we do, I have new vendors and some old ones returning, and I think that that is just like a constant wheel of people diving in and then going off and doing something else maybe, and that's okay, and I see that continuing and hopefully partnering with new venues. I'm grateful that we get to be at the Point, and we've worked with the Promenade and PV. We did Corridor Flow in Lomita for the first time. I would love to see that continue, but I think for Esplanade, I want it to always make me feel fulfilled. It's not like not like the business that's gonna change my life. I'm gonna sell it or whatever someday. It's just a creative outlet for me. And as long as I can keep doing that and making other people feel happy when they wear the stuff that I'm so happy to create, then I think it's just the goal. Keep doing that.
I remember early on you told me something that does make you happy is when you're driving down PCH, you're driving down and people wearing your clothes.
Yeah,
And it
it's so
really
cool.
does. It's really
But I
cool.
cannot tell them that I made it. I
No,
tried
that's
it.
yeah. Is that so weird?
I said to this one lady, "I made your hat." And she was like, "Oh, it's from the Aloha Bungalow." And I was like, "No, never mind. Have a good day." Like, I can't do that. It was just such I see it all the time, and I share them. One of my friends told me I should take pictures of the people wearing them as I see them out and about, make it a reel, and I'm like, "How can I do
My
that
hat's
without
in
being
the
the biggest
wild.
creep?" Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a
Be
little
like,
weird.
"Oh,
That's
I'll see you on Instagram."
hilarious.
I cannot. I love seeing it, and it brings me so much joy.
That's so funny. Oh, tell the good people of the South Bay Buzz podcast where they can find you, websites, social, all the
What
things.
things? EsplanadeBrand.com, SunandSea Collective.com. I like the 2 hubs of those guys. Esplanade Brand on Instagram, Sun and Sea Collective on Instagram.
Are you doing photography right now or is
I'm
that on
always
oh, okay.
photography is like a lifelong love for
Yes.
me. I do family photos. I'm actually doing a wedding in Yosemite this year because
Oh,
I get roped in. I
cool.
love my clients and I just will do anything for them. So that's just me, Jessica Hickerson on Instagram.
Yes, and she did our gender reveal for
Oh,
my twin
yes,
boys,
the
and
double blue.
she did my maternity
Oh, I
photos
love those.
literally 10 days before I gave birth
Yeah.
to those little
They made you
twinnies.
hike in the
Oh, you did. But they are I am not kidding, they are the single most stunningly beautiful photos of me.
magical.
That
I
actually will
loved
make
it.
me
No.
cry. That if I could and if it wasn't weird, I would print every single one of them and put them all in my house
Sorry, Ryan,
because
you don't get to be into
yeah,
this.
no, just because, like, it was truly just such a beautiful and special moment of my life,
Oh
but
gosh,
thank you for that.
I will always be a photographer just because I love that story, and I
Yeah,
love getting to do that,
you
and,
captured it really
oh,
beautifully.
it's so fun.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank
Honestly, when
you.
I first streamed this podcast, I knew that you would be like, obviously, that's someone that I need to sit down with immediately.
Oh,
And I just want to publicly thank you for being you. And you are somebody who has inspired me. You have pushed me to start things before I'm ready.
that's my favorite thing to do.
Yep. And yeah, don't tell her your dreams.
No, I'll make them
She will
happen.
make them happen. That is like her tagline.
Watch out.
So thank you for being such a big supporter of
Oh,
Small Biz Cheerleader turned South Bay
yes.
Buzz and for letting me be a part of your journey. Thank
Yay,
you.
thank you. I'm so glad that you're doing this.
Thank you.
It's happening.
It's
It's all
happening.
happening.
It's happening.
It'll be great. It'll be
Thank
great.
you. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for being a part of the movement to shop small and support local. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did it.